All right, what's going on, guys? Graham Gius and Matthews here, Bleach Report and Fansided.com. We got the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend, January 28th, live on Peacock. San Antonio, one of the featured matches on the show, aside from the Royal Rumble matches themselves. Of course, we got the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Bray Wyatt making his return to the ring. It's not just about Bray, though. He's taking on LA Knight, SmackDown
Right.
superstar. LA, what's going on, my man? How are you?
Nothing. Just you interrupted my lunch here. No big deal. Uh, but you're right. It's not just about Bray Wyatt. It is about LA Knight. Mountain Dew Pitch Black match is going to be a big, big, big night at the Alamo Dome. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's going to prove to be true here this Saturday at the Royal Rumble.
Obviously, for WWE fans, they might be just starting to get familiar with you now, but obviously we saw you in NXT before that, a variety of promotions prior to that point. Is this going to be the biggest crowd that you've competed up in front of to date?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've done some decent sized places before, but never. I mean, what are we talking? 70, 80,000, somewhere in that realm. So yeah, that's pretty huge.
Do you have any memories of the Alamo Dome at all? I know there's been various Royal Rumbles that have hosted in that arena in the past.
Well, I was going to say the one I think of is what was it? Shawn Michaels and Sid with
Yeah.
Jose Lothario in Shawn's corner. So that's the first one and the main that comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a big one. But with this match coming up on Saturday, it's such a big matchup, such a big show. It's the Pitch Black match, again, presented by Mountain Dew, which has got to be an honor for you. I mean, this is it's a cool thing to hear on paper. No one really knows what to expect from it. I'm sure you're in the same boat. We don't really know until the matchup happens. Just talk about first, aside from the match itself, getting your reaction to finding out it's a Pitch Black match. Obviously, we don't know the rules yet. But knowing that it's going to be associated with the Mountain Dew brand, the return of the Pitch Black flavor, it's such like a random thing, but it feels like it goes along with your vibe perfectly.
Well, let me give you a two-pronged answer to that. Mountain Dew, oddly enough, when I was a teenager, I got my first beeper through Mountain Dew. That might sound crazy, but they did a promotion way back where if you saved enough of the UPCs and sent it in, whatever, they'd send you a beeper. Why my teenage ass needed a beeper, couldn't tell you, but it just seemed really cool. So you're talking, man, I was drinking Mountain Dew all the time way back in the day. So now to now be associated, and of course now you're talking about the Pitch Black match, and a lot of people are going to get a lot of questions answered on Saturday because I think a lot of people do have the question: what is a Pitch Black match? What's that going to be? And if I'm honest, I'm still going to find out because a lot of it's still a mystery to me. All I can tell you is at this point, I'm gearing up for a fight. Now, whether that means it's pitch black in there or you can see or it's broad daylight, doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, I'm geared up for a fight. As far as I'm concerned, Bray Wyatt has it coming. He's the one who's kind of entered into my space. And, when you enter into somebody's space like that, sometimes you just need to be backed off, and sometimes in a more violent way than you expect.
Do you think it fits with like the theme of your career up to this point, with everything that you've done over the course of your career beyond WWE and here now as well? You've taken everything that has been given to you and made the most of it and then done it times 10. I feel like we're getting that on Saturday with this match. We don't know what this is. Like you said, you don't really know what this is, but you're going to take whatever challenge is given to you and make it work to the best of your ability.
That's the name of the game, man. If you're going to be successful at anything, especially this, it's a matter of adaptation. It's a matter of whatever this is. I'm gonna shine through it. It's not just I'm gonna get through it. It's I'm gonna make this son of a bitch work. And can I even say it? I don't know, but I did. I'm gonna make this thing work, and I'm gonna make it work in a way that's going to elevate me beyond anything I've been to or done before. And that's what I'm looking at. Mountain Dew, Pitch Black. It's a whole thing it's a first. That's the other thing. You're looking at the second biggest pay-per-view second biggest premium live event. I'm still adjusting. But with that being the case, now there's a major first on your second biggest pay-per-view, or said it again, second biggest event of the year, second to WrestleMania. And to me, that's huge. That's a huge place to be, and that's a huge place to make a name, and that's a huge place to elevate beyond anything before.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. Like I said, it's been the name of the game for you, the name of your career up to this point, like you said. And even in the last 6 months, 8, 9 months, however long you've been on the SmackDown roster, going, of course, from a maximum male model to where you are now, such a drastic difference to now being involved. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, this segment on Monday's Raw with Bray, with Taker. What a spot for that to be, and what an honor for that, for you to be involved in that. Just talk about like the transition so far from where you were on SmackDown even 6 months ago to where you are now. And if for you, if there was like a turning point as far as changing that perception in people's eyes, now people see me as a superstar. Was it this one promo? Was it this one match? Was it this one moment for you so far on SmackDown?
I'll tell you where I was before. I was in the wrong place. But in a lot of ways, it was the place that I needed to be because I needed to do what I needed to do to get where I needed to be. And beyond that, you know, at a certain point, you want to take whatever path you can, or whatever, maybe we'll call it a shortcut. I don't know, but you want to take whatever way you can to get where you want to be. At the same time, I have an innate lack of ability to be anything other than myself. And so eventually that shined through, and we find ourselves right back where we started at LA Knight. And so, to go through then that whole process and getting back into that groove of things on SmackDown, it was a necessary move. It was really the only move. And at this point, it's just, hey, whether you got 3 minutes on TV or you got 20 minutes on TV, I'm going to do something that I'm going to make people remember. I'm going to do something that's going to make people go, oh, wait, I've never seen this guy. He's pretty cool. Or I've seen this guy 100 times. He's better than the last time I saw him. So in my head, it's just every single time, no matter how much time you give me, I'm going to make as much damn noise as I possibly can.
I think the coolest thing about what we're seeing from you right now is that this really is who you are and who we've seen from you over the course of your career, regardless of where you've been. You've always practically been the same person, different name, different game, but it's still the same.
Sure.
LA Knight, all the same. No, I mean, not to rhyme there, but that's really basically what it's been. And again, going full circle, like I said, Monday's Raw, the segment with Taker, Wyatt, such a cool segment. Sharing the ring with Taker. But not only that, I'm sure this dawned on you seeing the tweets and whatnot, the association with Paul Bearer, obviously with, yourself and your career with Taker. But a lot of people don't realize this in the WWE universe, I guess, so to speak, is that you were very closely associated with Paul Percy Pringle prior to his passing over 10 years ago, helping him, him helping you to get you where you are in your career. Just talk about that and how much that meant to you.
Sure. I mean, the funny thing is, I didn't even put the two things together in the moment because I was just so dialed into what we were doing on Monday that, it took me getting back to my phone. And I think I saw Ryan Satin or somebody had just said, cool fact. And then I saw the picture of 2013, 2023, and I was like, wow, that's right. How did that not even, come to my mind? But yeah, I mean, almost exactly 10 years to the day, right around this time is probably the last time that I saw Percy,
Wow.
Paul Bearer. Because I was along with him for his last televised thing, which was Championship Wrestling in Hollywood out in LA. I didn't even know that he was having health issues at the point. He had lost a bunch of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that he had a condition, and he just kind of kept quiet about it. And then, he passed maybe a month and a half or two after that. But yeah, I mean, he and I had been linked for like 3 years straight since about 2010. So that was just a cool experience. And now to bring it full circle like that, where now 10 years later, me and the Undertaker in the ring, that is kind of mind blowing in a certain sense when you're thinking about that link.
And that was your Raw debut, wasn't that your first ever appearance on Raw, being the 30th anniversure show, or have you appeared before? Wow.
No, yeah, and a lot of that was kind of last minute too, where it was just like, oh, hey, by the way, you're gonna be on Raw Monday. I'm like, oh, okay, great, yeah, let's do it. Because I mean, we're going to the Royal Rumble, pitch black match, Mountain Dew, the whole thing. Like there's a lot of business to get to still on Saturday, but in that lead up, man, I got a lot of noise to make. So,
yeah.
If you want to put me on Raw, you want to have me make a little noise, hell yeah, I'll do it. You want to have me make a little noise right there with The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt? Bet your ass. I'll be right there.
What a Raw debut. Like I said, 30th anniversary. You're in the ring with Bray, a current big star in WWE, Taker, one of the biggest stars of all time on such a show, such a cool stage to see you on before the Rumble on Saturday, like you said. I know you've talked about this before, and apologies if you mentioned this in other interviews, but you talk about being the same LA Knight, Eli Drake, wherever you've been. different name, obviously. Some people get a choice. Some people get to keep the name. Some people don't. LA Knight has just rolled off the tongue. That's who everyone associates with you now. So it's even hard to remember a time where you were Eli Drake. But I know you've also talked in the past. We did an interview 5-6 years ago where you talked about, I think it's so fascinating, like actor credits and stuff like that. And you kind of just being known by different names, because obviously it depends on the promotion you're in, all over the place here. But just talk about that and the process of becoming LA Knight in WWE. Was that a choice on your end, or was it something you just kind of made the most of upon coming here a few years ago?
You know, the funny thing is I've totally pulled back on that now, because now I've kind of, man, I don't want to pull the curtain too far back, but yeah, I now like to kind of keep a little bit more mystique, so to speak. I don't want to let anybody in too much. Whereas, you know, a few years ago, it was kind of like, I don't know where my career is going, what I'm going to be doing, this, that, whatever. So, you know, and my social media posts are pretty sparing. It's mostly all business. I don't really share a lot about, you know, what's going on at home or this, that, whatever, because I would rather people imagine that, think about that, because now there's a particular illusion that might be there. There's a particular imagination that might be there, as opposed to me just blah, here's everything.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting mix there. My doorbell might ring here in about 3 seconds, but never mind that. But I mean, as far as like you said, it's been pretty much, no matter what the name is, it's been the same thing, and not in a stale way, because I mean, there's still been evolutions. There's been things that have changed and morphed over time. But at the core, at the end of the day, it's still me in there, and that's really kind of the important thing, because I think that's the best way to kind of make it work. I think Jack Nicholson one time said, you know, make the character you. So whatever it is, I'm going to make it me.
And the different LA Knight that we're seeing now, a far cry from the hour-long conversation with Chris Van Vliet in your own apartment a couple of years ago. You know, when you talk about pulling back the curtain a little bit, you've come a long way since then. And that was such a great interview. I go back and watch that all the time to kind of get a different version of you and how far you've grown since then. Just talking about that and every place you've been. And we're seeing the shirt on you now. You finally got merch on the main roster. I was looking forward to that shirt for a while, and they finally released it only a couple of months ago. How long did it take them to make that shirt? Because you were wearing that NXT a year ago.
Yeah, so we had the black one, and it had LA Knight and, you know, the picture of me on it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I just want a very basic shirt, something simple. And I was like, what if we just do the big giant LA with, you know, Knights just down there sneaking in? And so I'd kind of just drawn it up. And they were like, well, yeah, we'll think about it. But, you know, I mean, at NXT, I don't know how well the shirts do down there. So it's kind of like, if you have one, that's probably enough. So I think there was maybe a little bit of hesitation on that part, because I don't know what the sales were doing. And I think that's just in general with NXT, just because the viewing audience isn't as large as Raw or SmackDown. So I went on my own, and I was just like, well, let me just make this shirt. And so I just got a couple of them made, and I was just like, I'm just gonna wear it and just, you know, see if there's like a demand or anything like that. And so, you know, things kind of went the way they did and progressed. And, you know, I transitioned from NXT to then the main roster, and, you know, things went the way they did. So there wasn't really a need for an LA Knight shirt at that point in time.
No.
So when it finally came to pass, and it was like, all right, well, what, do you want to do the old black shirt? And I was like, no, let's do this one. And so now here we are, and yeah, I dig this one. My only thing now, I would like to have a white with just black lettering. Nobody's got anything like that right now.
Yeah.
And it would just, I know it sounds kind of plain, it sounds kind of simple, but nobody's doing that.
You already had a shirt like that with the Eli Drake shirt on Pro Wrestling
You are
Tees,
correct, and that was kind of my mindset, because again, at that point in time, nobody had that, and that shirt goes with literally anything. You could wear that to the gym.
Yeah.
You could wear that for a night out. You could wear that just casual jeans and t-shirt, whatever you wanted to do. And that's the versatility of something like that, is where I'm like, oh, this works.
Yeah. And it's a V-neck too, so it doesn't even look like a wrestling shirt, you know?
Yeah.
That's the best part about it. But you talk about the transition from NXT to the main roster. I think the last time we spoke, when you were in NXT about a year and a half ago, being in NXT, everyone kind of located in Central Florida. You've been all over the country over the course of your career. Are you back in the LA area now, or are you still in Florida?
No, I'm still in Florida. I would love to go back to LA. I love LA. I miss LA, but it's not in the cards right now. So maybe in a couple of years. But if I'm honest, I don't see it right now.
Not right now, but maybe not being based out of Florida, but WWE is headed to LA for the WrestleMania weekend coming up in just a few short months. Now that you're on the main roster, you got to be looking forward to that, right? That's got to be an awesome thing to look forward to.
It's going to be a gigantic homecoming in my mind because I've spent most of my adult life in LA, at least about 10 years there. So yeah, to go there and have my first WrestleMania. And again, I'm not on the card yet; nothing's confirmed. But how could you not?
Yeah, right.
So you know, it's LA in LA 2023 WrestleMania. Yeah, that's a given. So yeah, that's crazy because to me, it's just, you know, I'm gonna have friends out there, family out there, stuff like that. I mean, my family's not from there, but just knowing what's gonna go down, they're gonna go out there. So that's gonna be cool. It's a big opportunity again to make a lot of noise and on a giant stage and in a place where I've spent most of my adult life and had a lot of fun, ridiculously fun times.
I think people are waiting to hear that awesome entrance music of yours on the grand stage, just given the ties that it has to the West Coast. Again, like I said, we talked to this last time we spoke a couple of years ago, but the California love vibe to it, everything else you got going on there, it just fits Mania in LA. We got to hear that on the grand stage.
Hell, it should be the WrestleMania theme song as far as I'm concerned.
Most definitely.
But yeah, I had a little hand in that. I mean, I wasn't in the studio doing it or anything, but I you know, when I first came in at NXT, we had talked about music, and I just said, you know, I made my own music in the past, and I was like, I would like to have something that has this vibe. So I sent them the song that I had created, used as my entrance music for a few years.
Yeah,
and they kind of took that inspiration and created that from the song that I had made back in 2018.
mm-hmm.
And so that same feel, that same vibe, and when I heard it, I was just like, okay, yeah, this works. this slaps, as the kids say.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds similar. And as we wind down here, LA, last question for you as we head into the Mountain Dew pitch black match coming up on Saturday. Speaking of Mania, I'm sure you see all the rumors. You see
Am
all
I
the
hopped
reports.
up on pitch black right now? Is that your question? Yeah.
Well, I guess in addition to that, you see all the Mania stuff going on right now. Stone Cold, we saw him at Mania last year, could see him at Mania this year. If that's a possibility, if he ends up wrestling again, is that someone you would want to step in the ring with, just given, you know, the inspiration has been to you, the similarities there? I mean, the match just writes itself.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, again, you're talking making a big noise on a big stage and with another big name. That's again, you can't do anything better than that. So, but then again, I don't know, because there's lots of times where I'm like, all right, there's nothing that could be bigger or better than this. This is what I want to do, and then something like this happens. I didn't even know that this was available. I didn't even know this was a thing that I could do. And then eventually, 3, 4, 5 months into being in NXT, I'm the $1 Million champion. So, you know, I say that, and yes, Austin would be an amazing, but who knows? There could be things under my nose that I haven't even considered that could come up for WrestleMania. But as it stands right now, yeah, I mean, I can't think of a bigger, better situation than something like that. Now, is that something that will or could happen? Who knows? Only time will tell. But I would make the damnedest of that and make sure to make a whole lot of noise.
But before we get to that, though, like I said, Mountain Dew pitch black match, yourself and Bray Wyatt coming up on Saturday, WWE Royal Rumble, San Antonio, the Alamo Dome on Peacock, 8 p.m. LA night. This is going to be awesome. We're looking forward to seeing you on your first. Is this your first premium live event for WWE, right?
That is correct. And what a big one to do it at. And again, you're talking about a first ever Mountain Dew pitch black match. So, you know, to be setting trends and to be setting history on what I consider the second biggest event of the year, you can't ask for a bigger way to come in and make a splash. And that hell, my first Raw was the 30th anniversary. So I mean, we're rolling right down the line at this point.
2023, the year of LA Night. LA,
Man,
great time talking
to
you. Great time talking to you. You're always talking to everyone else. Longtime fan, man. I appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Hey, do me a favor. If anybody ever asks you whose game it is, you already know.
LA Nights game. There we go.
Yeah.
Take care, brother. Thanks so much.
All right, man. I'll see you.